videos. We can't put it in practical use. We can't ask the questions that actually concern me. And we want to start doing that for you. So we're going to launch with Debbie first. But a couple things I want to go through with you, and she's going to go in much more detail. But first I want to introduce Debbie Coates. So who doesn't know Debbie here? Some of you are just boot campers. Everybody know Debbie. Look at that. Couple. She's been in the industry many years. We won't say how many. And we won't say how many I've been in, so we'll keep it that way. But I asked her a few months ago if she would give me her brand statement and her thoughts on what she does. And there's something that was very interesting that came out of it. It says, everything I teach, every assessment I run, every program I build has one goal: to help create a stronger future for yourself and to live a life God designed you for, with energy, purpose, and joy. And what we're seeing right now, and that's awesome, I love that statement. So she gave me a lot of things, but that's the one I kind of pulled out. But what we're seeing right now in fitness and health is there's this medical over here, there's fitness over here, and there's this big chasm between the two, right? Our doctors have been sick care forever. The only time we call our doctor is when we're sick, right? We don't want to talk to our doctor. That's the guy we don't want to see. And then we're working on fitness, we don't understand it all, and we're trying to fill in those gaps. But there is this tons of education in between those two pillars, right? And that's what we want to deliver to you. So I want to read something really quick to you, which Debbie's going to go in much more detail with you and hopefully explain it on a level that touches you and opens up some questions for you. But I just want to read the definition of VO2 max. VO2 max measures the maximum volume of oxygen the body can utilize per minute during intense exercise. It is the gold standard for cardiorespiratory fitness. And the physiological significance reflects the integrated efficiency of the heart, lungs, blood, and muscles to deliver and use oxygen, essentially your aerobic engine capacity. Right? What I just read to you is the definition. Doesn't go very deep. I don't know how to internalize that with me personally, but that's something Debbie's going to do. And then the last thing I wanted just to open your mind up on the VO2. So there's a ton of biomarkers we're using now in regenerative medicine or longevity or whatever you call it nowadays. But it's ApoB, the diabetes, testosterone level, cholesterol level, muscle mass, BMI. These are all different tests that they do on you. But number 1 and number 2 is VO2 max is number 1, and number 2 is strength. Those are your top 2 biomarkers when it comes to mortality, right? How long we're going to live, how healthy we're going to live, and what is our chances of dying tomorrow. I hate even saying that sentence, but that's kind of how they look at it. So number 1 is VO2 max, and we started this education series and talking about it. We thought, let's start with number 1. Let's start with VO2 max. So Debbie is going to talk to us and share with us so that we understand. Debbie Coates.
Yay! That last line from Christopher was for me. Keep it simple, silly. That was for me. So, welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I know most of you. And before we get started, I would like you to say hi to someone that you don't know. Just turn around and say hi to someone you don't know.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm Rocky.
Say hi to someone you don't know.
Hi.
You met Chelsea?
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
I'm Susan. I'm Rocky.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so today's presentation is going to be simple. It's more important, I feel like it's more important for you to leave with 1, 2, 3 things that you can take and plant and that you can use to implement in your own work that you're doing on your body. That's my goal. So if there's something that I bring up that just doesn't resonate, let's make it interactive. There's just, there's 20 or so of you. If you have a question, please feel free, because I'm sure if Dan has a question, somebody else is probably gonna have that same question. So let's just keep it open, and not lecture style, and if you need to know something, I'm here. I did bring some sample tests. I've got people in the room that they've done the VO2 testing. Diana's done it, my clients have done it, and then I brought, there's some other things, a normative data chart, like where should you be, where would be a great number for you to be. I brought some information like that so you can look in on, oh, I got it. Hello, Dora. How are you?
Well,
We're so glad you're here. Okay, so let's start with the simple. Christopher gave you the definition. VO2 is the maximum, VO2 max is the maximum uptake of oxygen that your muscles take in every minute. That's all it means. So the V is the volume, O2 is oxygen. So how much oxygen are you utilizing at your muscle level right now? And then how much of it do you have available when you walk, work out, ride a bike, run, whatever the things that you want to do. And then from that, if we were to take a measurement, where do you fit in the standardized view of people? And if it's off, what is the formula to get you on so that when you're 70, 80, 90, you have enough oxygen to do everything you want to do, just not exercise, but everything. So let's do a little game here. Right now, sitting, all of you need about 8 milliliters of oxygen for your muscles just to be sitting here. You need about 8 milliliters of oxygen. And I promise you, not even doing your VO2, you're doing it so you have it available. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, stand up. Okay, that just took another 2 milliliters of oxygen. Clearly we can all do it. Okay? All right, sit back down. That took another 2 milliliters. Okay? But yet you were able to do it. Here's the dilemma and why VO2 has been pushed to number 1 in terms of longevity markers. Everything you do in life requires energy. Everything. Everything you do. Sitting here requires energy. And I just told you that it takes about 8 milliliters of oxygen for you to just sit here every minute. Every minute. So you're breathing in, your pulmonary is being active, your nervous system, your body is saying, I need about 8 milliliters of oxygen to get this activity done. That's great, as long as you have 8 milliliters available. Now, what if you want to go run? You need somewhere above 20. You need somewhere above 20 milliliters of oxygen to be able to go run whatever speed you want to run. Now, I know my friend Dan, he runs an 8-minute mile. He needs about 40 milliliters of oxygen to be able to do that. That's why when people run sometimes, they'll be like, oh, I can't do it. Well, you probably don't have the VO2 capacity to run the distance and the speed that you wanted. That's the issue. Let's train it and get it. And everyone does have a potential top. This doesn't go endlessly like, we're not all going to be Michael Phelps. He's got a VO2 number. He's got available about 90 milliliters of oxygen every minute. The guy can do whatever he wants. Like he's just almost an endless supply of energy. So to tie this back into your longevity, why does this matter? Who cares? Well, if you want to sit in a chair for the rest of your life, it probably doesn't matter. You're all going to probably end up with 8 milliliters of oxygen available for the rest of your life. That probably won't matter. But who wants to sit in a chair for the rest of your life? There's where the rub is. And right now, I'm 64. I want to be able to do the things at 64 when I'm 84. I want to do the same thing, right? And when I'm 94. And then one day I just want to go to bed and be like Queen Elizabeth and just not get up. Let's just go to bed and we just one day we don't get up. That to me is the way to slide on out, home base or whatever you call it, right? Slide into home base. That's the way I want to do it. So I knew 15 years ago that VO2 was an important metric that needed to be looked at. The athletes were doing it. All of the high-end athletes that I could find and wanted to model in my running, I'm a runner, they were all getting their VO2s checked. And that's where I started my studies. And I went, but wait a minute. If an athlete can use a number like that to be better, and it represents how I might be able to move when I'm 80, how can I bring this to everyday people like me? And hence, that's what we've done. And then I needed space to be able to do it. And after the pandemic, I chose not to keep my studios. And Christopher, he's forward thinking, guys. That's why there is not another facility that you can go to in town that's not a clinical medical facility to get one of these tests. We have a metabolic cart that you would see in a hospital. And we did bring it to the everyday folks. And Christopher's very forward thinking, so I thank him for that. He offered me space here that I could do what I am passionate about doing. VO2 is the #1 predictor of how long you will live. But to me, that's good. But I want to know about your quality of life. What do you want to do when you're 80? Like, what do you want to do, Andrea, when you're 80?
You know, I still want to be active with my family and my grandkids.
Right?
So yeah, just
I think we all
quality
agree with
of
that.
life.
Yeah,
I want
right?
it to be good.
May we ask how old you are?
I'm 61.
Right. And she still runs competitively. She still does strength training. She still does all the things. Now, when Andrea started with me, her first VO2 showed that we needed some work. But without guessing, I didn't have to guess. The VO2 showed me where we needed to go. And I was able to give her a protocol that she could go out and practice. And today she has a VO2 that is better than when we started in 2020. So she's actually aging backwards, right? She's the age of someone 10 years her current age, right? So she's doing better today, and yet she's aging. And I hope that you would all agree that's pretty good biometric stat, right? So I knew 15 years ago that if I could figure out how to take the VO2 information and make something complicated usable. Look at my buddy. Yeah. Dora tells me sometimes when we chat, okay, do you know what I'm hearing right now? I'm hearing Charlie Brown. And I go, okay, she's a good nut for me to crack, because if I can get the message with Dora, because she doesn't mind telling me, you're talking like Charlie Brown. And so does Christopher. He'll tell me all the time, hey, tone it down a little bit. I dug deep and I realized, oh my stars, your volume of oxygen that you have available is not just a good idea for exercise and fitness, it's a great idea for wellness. Because most people that I come in contact with are like Andrea, I want to be active as I age. I don't want to just sit in a chair. So, how do we get that better? Well, before you leave, if you'll leave me your emails, I put together a little cardio blueprint book for everybody here at Fort. And it's digital, so you'll need to give me your email. I'll get it to you, or I can get it through the club and they can get it to you. Just make sure I know you were at the workshop. But if we're looking at VO2 as a tool, here's the way it works, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the numbers so you know what you might be looking for. We use a bike, and Chelsea was going to be my demo today, but I don't think we'll need a test. I think if I let you see some pictures, but she is willing to be a demo if you kind of want to see it. She's done the test. So we use a bike, and then we hook you up to a mask, like so. We hook you up to a mask, and then we have like I said, a clinical grade, it's a metabolic cart. The machine measures your oxygen and your carbon dioxide. And then you're like, so what? What do I do with that? I'm gonna tell you, it gets better. But once we hook you up, and there's no pain involved, it's like a hard bike ride. It's like you go on a bike ride, you do a little warm up, you get to the end, it's pretty hard, and and then we're done. And then the machine gives us this wonderful printout that says, hey, here's where your VO2 is, here's where your volume of oxygen sits, here's, for your age group, here's a good place to be, and then it gives us gives us a little information about how that came to be. And then it's my job to help design a protocol for you to go use in your everyday workouts, okay? All right, so stand up again for me. Now I want you to act like you're marching. Act like you're marching. Act like you're marching.
Act like her march.
Okay, right now, okay, you sit down. I just want to keep you from going to sleep. That little marching experiment required 15 milliliters of oxygen. Okay, again, not a high level. Everybody could do it here. We did everything that could do it, right? So what is the number all about? You have how many of you are trying to lose weight? Anybody trying to lose weight? Okay. This machine can tell us exactly what you need to do that. Okay? It can tell us what energy is required. Okay, so let's dive into what those numbers mean for you. Is that good? Any questions so far? No? Okay. Somebody's gonna have to ask a question once in a while, just so I don't get my feelings hurt, right? You just gonna have to ask a question. Okay, so your VO2, Rome's probably looking up her VO2.
Okay, I have a question.
Good.
So when you're on the bike and you say that it's hard, how hard is it? Is it different depending on the person?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And am I gonna have to go so hard that my doctor might say, that's too hard, that's too
No.
hard, don't do that?
Great question. Her question is, are you going to push me beyond a level where I think I'm going to not make it? No.
Well, it
It's
won't
a-
let you.
It won't let you,
Yeah.
right. It's a sub-maximal test. And yeah, I see you, Dan. Hold on one second. So we have protocols that are in place. It's a great question because people are a little fearful of, and they don't want to know the information. They kind of want to keep the blinders on. And I'm telling you, as you age, that's not a good plan. Leaving the blinders on, not a good plan, right? Take them off. Let the sun shine. Remember, sunshine's the best disinfectant you can get. Take them off so we can see. So Becky's question, that's great. When you get on here, we set up a protocol. And the minute you can't do the protocol, the test is done. No matter whether you feel like, oh no, I could go another minute. No, protocol's done. We're done. I do try to get you to go up to that theoretical maximum heart rate, see what you got. I do, but sometimes we don't get there. Yeah, great question. Dan has a question.
Does altitude have anything to do with your VO2 max? In other words, you might at sea level test worse or better, or
Yeah.
at 5,000 feet, does that make a difference? And or environment, like if you're in a smoggy area versus, I mean, if you're in a good area with oxygen.
So, great questions. Those are great. The altitude, yes, because you have, it's like hypoxia training. They intentionally, you can tape your mouth up, and so when you go to the altitude, you just wouldn't have that same oxygen available to you. So that would be a difference, and that's why some athletes train like that. Because my next story for you, I've got 2 engines and adaptation, and then I'll be done. But they put athletes under that type of training so that when they're here at sea level, it's better, right? Through adaptation. Now, smog, anything that would impede your ability to take in, because remember, VO2 is what your muscles are using, not what you're taking in. I collect everything that you're taking in because I put a mask on you. And so we funnel it right through the machine. But smog, anything that would impede your lungs' ability to provide that, that's probably not a day that we want to do a test on you. Right. Yeah. But the altitude thing is performance related. Yeah. Okay, so
Wonder if someone has asthma. Does that have an
Yeah.
effect on? Yeah.
there have been a few tests where we've said, today's probably not the best day. You're not feeling it, are you? Nope. And they're going to try to muster through it. I'm like, we won't get the best tests. We want you to have the best quality test because it designs, once you know, my clients will tell you, they never not know. Diana's learning her zone 2 wattage and power struggle. She's learning that right now. It takes a moment. It's like anything new that if you come into lifestyle class and the room is set up differently It takes your nervous system a minute to go, wait a minute, this is different. I don't recognize where the kettlebells are at. We're not even using kettlebells. We're using plates or whatever. So if you get new information with your VO2 and I say, okay, great, I see it. Here's your protocol. Sometimes that's overwhelming, right? And I'm not saying that's what happened with Diana, but right now we're taking zone 2. We need to get, because that was the gap on her assessment, was zone 2. And that's the gap on a lot of people's assessment, but on hers, that was the gap. And so instead of doing a lot of zone 5, blah, 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 and then over here, and she's not quite sure what to do, here's what we do. And here's how we fix this. And then go get that, and then I'm sure that your VO2 will improve after that, and then we'll tie in the other piece, and you're good to go. So everybody's a little different in their, what they get. And that changes the outcome. So if they have asthma, and they come in one day, and they're not feeling it, and I'm not seeing it on the what I'm reading, then we just redo it. Like, let's put it away and redo it. We'll come back. Okay, so now, to you. If you're trying to lose weight, I can tell you this, okay? I can tell you this. Zone 5 work will not liberate body fat and create energy. It just won't happen. You're using glucose, and I can show you, any of you that have done that, and Diana got to see that, and all of you that have done it, you've gotten to see your report, and your metabolism is very clear to me once you do the test. You have 2 systems, and if you walk away with, remember the 1, 2, or 3 things? If you could walk away with this, my heart would be happy. I'd be full right now. And then we can come back in for a second one. You have 2 energy systems that control what you do in terms of exercise, life, whatever it is you want to do. You have an aerobic system, and that aerobic system needs fat and oxygen to create energy. Remember I said the number 1 law is everything we do in life requires energy. Everything. I just had you do it. That requires energy. Everything you do in life. Whether it's you want to run a 10-minute half marathon, you want to run a 9-minute 5K, you want to get on a rower and just do a 2,000-meter row in, 5 minutes, whatever the goal is, all of that requires some level of energy. And the way that we make the energy is through that VO2, whether you know it or not. Doesn't matter whether you know it or not, it's how it happens. So you have an aerobic system that's the low-level heart rate stuff. It's you walking, it's you maybe doing a little bit of light biking or something of that nature. Zone 2, or your aerobic system, requires fat and oxygen. And that's how your mitochondria create energy. And I'd love to talk about mitochondria, but I'm looking at Christopher and he's like, don't do it. Don't do it!
Next class.
So, in your aerobic system, you need fat and you need oxygen to create energy. It's a must. But what if your system doesn't want to do it? Oh, it's gonna go to glucose because your liver can produce whatever fuel you want right now, even if you don't have a good system of using fat and oxygen. Your liver will provide the sugar. And now you're going to pull in glucose to use for an energy output that was a walk. And that's not the way you were designed. You have 2 systems. You have an aerobic system and an anaerobic system. And the VO2 tells me if you're there at the appropriate level. And you want to be at the appropriate level. If you're trying to lose weight, and you're using cardio for that because your watch says, I burn 300 calories, I hate to break the news, but I'm going to. That 300 calories was from glucose if you were in zone 5. All glucose. Very little fat. All glucose. So now you did an hour workout, you didn't liberate body fat to use for fuel. You're doing a carb recycling, and then the recovery takes longer. And then you just don't feel as well as you used to. And it's a cycle. Then you have that anaerobic system where you're running as fast as you can go. You're on that rower, you're on a bike, you're doing a spinning thing, you're on the assault bike, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You need glucose, and you need a high heart rate to do that. You want your heart and your lungs and your nervous system to be providing you with glucose freely because you need it. And that's why people poop out. It's not available. They don't have that oxygen uptake with the right fuel for the right system. So it would be like this. At my age, this would mean something. I used to have a Fiat. That was one of my first cars. Do you remember Fiats? I'm not talking like beautiful Fiat. I'm talking about Fred Flintstone car. Yeah, mine was orange. And the little top, the little black top came off, right? And it was like I could use that's why my parents weren't concerned. I lived in Chowchilla and I drove a Fiat. Like, how bad can it go? It just couldn't go wrong. What if I took that Fiat to NASCAR? Right, we know I'd be blown away. Because my little Fred Flintstone car was using gas and oxygen, and I could go that speed, okay? Glucose allows you to be the NASCAR guy. And I can't think of a NASCAR driver, sorry, I'm not a, but in that car, how many miles per hour are they going?
100, 120.
How much?
120.
200 miles an hour?
Danica Patrick.
What?
Danica Patrick.
Oh yes, there it is. I know her. Yes, I know her. Okay, 200 miles an hour. 200 miles an hour. In my Fiat, I could barely do probably 15, 20 miles an hour. Right? It would get me to school, and then I'd come home, and that was the way it would work. I didn't need glucose to get into my Fiat. I needed some good oxygen and fat. And where's the body get the fat? Because the liver doesn't manufacture fat.
Fat stores.
Yes, Nancy, yes, from your fat source. It says, hey, you over there, come here, we need you. Now, this is just a factoid, and I don't care if you leave with this one or not, but 84%. So all of you don't want to lose weight. Wait, tell me who you are. Okay, take this to the bank. 84% of the fat you want to lose is through CO2 exhalation. 84%. Everybody thinks there's a furnace in them. And when you look at your watch and it says, oh, I burned 300 calories. There's no furnace. There's no furnace. 84% of the fat that you liberate leaves your body through CO2. Okay, so back to so what? If you are constantly doing zone 5 and you've got weight that you want to lose, and all you're doing is zone 5 work, it's not going to happen. If you're using exercise for that. It's going to happen if you cut down on your plate and because you use, how many milliliters of oxygen do you use right now? 8. And that 8 equals to about 80 calories. So every hour y'all are sitting here, it's about 80 calories. And somebody's got to provide it. So your body either produces the energy through fat and oxygen, or it would be terrible if it did this while you're sitting, or it uses glucose. And you're either doing the Fiat work, or you're doing the NASCAR work. Now, your second system is that anaerobic system. That's your ticker. And you need to do hard stuff so that, because the thing I'm going to leave on is adaptation. Okay? You need hard activities, hard stuff to train your cardiovascular, your cardiopulmonary system. And that machine tells me, how well are you doing with that? How are we doing with oxygen uptake? How's the cardiopulmonary working out? What's your ventilatory efficiency? How well do you clear carbon dioxide? Have you ever gone for like a run and you felt like, oh, I'm choking, I can't, right? Okay, if you're a runner, you know what I'm talking about. Like you run too fast and you're like, wait a minute. No, you're not gonna pass out, you've got enough. But when the carbon dioxide level goes up, you feel like you're gonna choke, right? You feel like that. So these two systems are shown in the results of the test. And you need both. You need, on the lower end, you need that good aerobic system where you're using fat and oxygen to create energy. Because when you're 90, that system gets to be there. And it gets to do its job so that you can do whatever you want and Andre can be with those grandkids. When you're 80 and in the chair, if your cardiopulmonary system isn't doing its job, you can't get up out of the chair either. So you need that system to be fine-tuned. And that's all about what's that little piece of hard that you can do, what's it telling us? Is it good enough? And then how do we get it better? And let me tell you this, I want to end with adaptation, but I want you to know this, because I know a couple of you have said, I don't know if I want to do it. Okay, take the blinders off, get out into the sunlight, face the truth, know where you're at, because 15 years of studying this, it is always improvable. Always. Okay, so last story and then my adaptation. So Rocky, and she won't mind because this is permission based. When she started with me, she was 59, she was taking my boot camp classes, and she was our first person that we tested on the VO2. So she had done 10 years of training with me, okay, 10 years of training, and in that 10 years, we did our first VO2 at the end of the 10 years, and she was good. Her VO2 was good. And I'm like, ooh, thank goodness, because that would be, like, that's a terrible success story, right? But I'm like, good, that's not good enough. Good would get you until the end of your life, probably. Okay, so if you could get to good, you're probably good. Because here's how the degradation works. You lose 10% a year. So if you're 50 or 60 and you get to good on your VO2, which is my minimum, like I'm on you like, you gotta get to good. Between good and superior, that's how hard you wanna work at it. Not hard in intensity, but hard in like, do you wanna do the work, right? So Rocky was good, and I'm like, I'm not good with that. Are you good with that? And I'm like, you wanna go on the ride? And so she's been in my program over 15 years. She happens to be one of my best friends too, but nevertheless, we put her on the protocol that the VO2 machine recommended. What are we gonna do? And today, she is better. She's in the superior category for her age group, superior. She went from good to superior in in half the time that I had been working her. She'd been over here 10 years, right? 10 years of work got her good. And then 5 years of the right work got her to superior. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why you want to take the blinders off. Don't be afraid of the information. Awareness is your first step to fixing, right? And here's the last piece. And then I'll let you look at some tests and we'll take some Q&A. The only, emphasize only, in my opinion, but I can back it up with science. The only way that you get better is through adaptation. It's the magic word in fitness. It's the only way that you make improvements. So if you're randomly, and this is why I applaud Christopher, because he's really forward thinking he's got a whole recovery lab for you out there. That's great. Like if you go work hard, if you come to me and I say, I want to improve my zone 5, great. Okay, Dan, here's what we're gonna do. And he does it, okay, he does it. He needs a certain amount of recovery to be able to go do it again, right? And so I was way on board when Christopher set up the recovery lab. Like that is so cool that you can come in, you get your recovery, you take rest, and then you can apply and do the other things. Zone 2 work takes time. I'm sure Diana's probably figuring, how do I get the time? Like, Zone 2 takes time. Zone 5 is this little bit, but you have to have lots of recovery. So I commend him for doing that and bringing that to you. And he's also very interested. Here we are. What other club in town is doing this? Who's doing this? Like where they have a VO2 expert and machine. It's one thing for me to talk to you about it, because it's all in the press right now, but it's another to say, we have it, and you can get it, okay? And you get not only the results, but you're gonna get the formula of what to do with the information. Because who cares if you get the information? Mine, when I had mine done, I had it done by a professor at Fresno State. It was raw data, like X, Y, I'm like, oh my stars. And I had to go study it to extrapolate what I needed to get out of it to PR at a race. But I knew then, if I could figure this out, this could be a game changer, because the world is telling you it's the #1 predictor of longevity. And I just showed you why. When you're 90 and sitting in this chair, and you need 10 milliliters of oxygen to get your booty out of the chair, and you don't have it available, that's a cardiac event. That's where everything goes wrong. Okay? So today, wherever you are, it's always improvable. And here's how it works, adaptation. So wherever you are, if I were to take Becky, we put her on there, and we say, all right, she got a fair reading. Okay, now we know. What do we gotta do to get her up to at least good? And then I would ask, do you wanna go on to excellent? Here's the next level. Right, who doesn't deserve to get to be excellent? Then once you're there, what do we need to do to maintain that? And what does that look like? And I can tell you this, there's a lot of confusion about what works with VO2. There are very few people, just like I mentioned, we're the only, to my knowledge today, and in the beginning, there were only 2 doctors that had machines. There's 3 or 4 that have them now, but to my knowledge, without getting involved in their practice, we're one of the only places where you can just make an appointment, get a VO2, get the protocols, go do your work, retest, make sure life is all good. Yeah. Adaptation is the key. If you've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, it no longer provides you with what it used to. And the window for that, just so you can be thinking about it, is 6 weeks to 6 months. And I have almost 500 tests, or at least over 400, of using y'all as experiments, right? Because every time I do one, I dig into, oh, what happened there? What was that about? Why'd that happen? What brought her to here? What brought him to here? What do we need to do? Whoa! And then go test it out and go do the work. So adaptation is the key. And if you've been doing something for 6 weeks to 6 months, there's your window. And if nothing has changed, then you probably have reaped all you're going to reap out of that activity. Okay? And like Christopher said, you need VO2 and you need muscle. And those are the 2 biggest biomarkers that impact you the most as you age. So that's all I got for you. So I do want to take Q&A.
Yeah. Let's do a couple things first, really quick. Stay with me. A couple things. What we've learned is what really started me down this rabbit hole. We live 10 years longer than we did 100 years ago. We live 2 years healthier, right? Which means we're a medicated society. They know how to keep us alive, but we don't have life, right? And that old saying is bring life to your years and years to your life. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bridge the gap, and hopefully you live healthier longer. And as I've gotten older, I'm not quite as old as Debbie.
You're right here.
I'm right there. And I hit 55, my kids are grown, but someday I will have grandchildren, right? And I want them to be able to help coach, be in the backyard running around with them, doing those things. So that started the process of trying to be healthy. But the second part of that is we need to understand why, right? So there's an emotional component to this. And a lot of times you hear people say, I want to lose weight. Well, that's not really the case. They want to get what weight loss gives them. And if you can focus on that, that helps you through the hard times and the rough workouts and not wanting, trust me, there are days I do not want to work out, but I still do it. And I just taught a class the other day about it, but it's kind of like brushing your teeth. Like you're in a hurry, but you know you have to brush your teeth because that's something you have to do. So I've kind of put the workout in that bucket, like I just have to do it no matter how tired I am, no matter how bad of a day I'm having, just got to get in the gym. So, but if you know the reason why, right, we're all, I believe, we're all 3-legged tables. And to be able to carry a lot of weight on those 3 legs, it's mind, body, and soul. I've got to make sure those 3 legs are strong, because the stronger they are, the more I can stack on top of that table, right? So when you're asking these questions, think about what you really want, what your goals really are, what you're looking to get out of this, or what you're looking to get out of your health. And then if you can hold that close to your heart every day, it helps you just get up and do it. It helps you make those decisions. It helps you put down the second half okay? I'm not saying don't eat the first one. Just don't eat the second one, right? Because we do need to reward ourselves and have life, right? Some people get a little too stringent on it. I think Debbie does sometimes. But you do need to
Don't even
celebrate.
listen to what he said.
Right. Not daily, but once in a while, right? Like I was at a big conference and they took me to dinner and they had the dessert and I'm like, and I ate half the dessert and somebody across the table said, I don't know how you did that. And I'm like, I wanted to taste it, I wanted to celebrate the moment, but I really didn't want the guilt of it, so I ate half of it. So when you think of your questions or walk down this road, just hold on to that emotional thing that's going to carry you far.
Just make a difference.
So go, let's do questions.
Q&A, let's do it.
Let's do it. Who's got what?
Are you gonna walk away with one or two things today? Because if not, let's revisit that and make sure you walk away with one or two things. Two systems, right?
I'm helping them understanding that the information that comes from this with the zone 2 is the heart rate that you should be putting the energy.
Yes.
And then you want to stay in that heart rate energy zone for a period of time. I don't know what that time is, but will the test tell you what that is?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
So
Yes, it's
Okay.
coming. So we're gonna look at your metabolism. I will know exactly when you use fat and when you use glucose. So that's the NASCAR and Fiat. I'll know if they're appropriate timings to use those fuels, right? Don't you want to use the right fuel for the right job? Right? Right hammer for the right project, right? Yes, we'll know that. You will have zones of training. Now, the first two zones that we start with are zone 2, zone 5. They're the most important. We start there. And you will know. Now, timing, that can be a little different based on our fitness levels. We see your fitness level on that.
Well, I watch you guys on the trail, and everybody has their own kind of.
Right. Everybody's got
They're all checking in on their own watches or whatever
Right.
they're seeing. So that is what this will give me.
Yes.
That information.
That's why I asked you about how fast you're walking.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
So
Oh, I get that in my head.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
You,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
And the old way, remember, was how tired was I after the workout and how sweaty did I get? That was kind of the way we judged everything. So the more sweat we had, and if we were really tired, okay, I had a great workout. That's not the case for everybody. You might want to, my wife does the same thing, right?
Yes.
She's like trying really hard to stay in the right zone because she's got to back it down quite a bit, right?
So Carrie, Christopher's wife, is an amazing athlete. Some of you probably take Zumba with her, right? She's an amazing athlete. So we popped Carrie on the bike and we did a VO2 test. And sure enough, she's a NASCAR driver all the time. Right. She's a NASCAR girl. She wants to use glucose for everything, right? So as you age, when you get up, okay, when you get up, that's a fiat job. And if your body needs glucose, it's not going to want to do that when you're 80 and 90. It needs you to get the right system, right fuel, right job. It needs that. That's why I brought it to you. Because the cardiovascular work needs to be two jobs. Okay, there needs to be two thought processes there. So we put Carrie on the bike. Sure enough, she's a NASCAR driver. I'm like, whoa, like you are using glucose when you're in my Fiat. It's the wrong fuel for the wrong job, but you're a great athlete. She had a superior VO2. So she has enough oxygen, so you should hear that. She has enough oxygen uptake to last her 2 lifetimes. She's good. But she does not have the aerobic system developed that would be more beneficial and optimal for her. Not that anything she's doing is wrong, it's just not the optimized. And so in order to optimize, what Christopher said, she's learning how to cool her jets down on a bike. And what's her magic number on the, what's the one thing I want her to look on the bike?
Her RPM.
And
Heart rate.
And
watts.
yes. Ding, ding, ding. I want her to get on a bike and I want to pull her away from her normal activity and I want to get her on a bike and I'd like to see how much power can she produce at the zone 2 heart rate. Oh, it's humbling. Like Christopher said, learning something new, it's humbling. She the first time I walked through it with her, She's like, this, right here? I said, I know, but you're only pulling 40 watts. We're the same body, just 30 years difference or something, 20 years difference. I said, we're the same body. At this same thing that you're doing, I can pull 100 watts. You're pulling 40 in our zone 2 heart rate. The aerobic system gets to get trained so that you're a full package. And that's important. That's why I wanted you to leave going, okay, there's 2 systems. And I know one, and Christopher just said it. If you work hard and we sweat, we think we got it. Check. Right? Check. I brought a couple of things for you, and that's a great question. Great question, you get it. This is Romy's. Romy's a client. She's been on the bike, on the VO2 several times. So at the age of 56, she ran a race, and then at the age of 62, she ran the same race, and she did better at 62 than she did at 56. And part of that, yay! And part of that is because she's learned how to do the cardiovascular protocols to her advantage. Not harder, better. Not harder. And so my mantra is stop guessing, start knowing. Stop guessing. We have a machine, we have devices, the club has an evil machine that will tell you so much good data, and they make it available to you. If you don't get it done just leave it, Barb. It's fine. Just leave it. Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. Somebody we'll turn it off. I'll edit it. It's fine. It's just for internal anyway. So, anyway,
See you
I won't
tomorrow.
go down that rabbit hole. You can improve at any age, and the protocols matter. And doing random work, not a good idea anymore. Like you said, we've got much more to offer. We're using the tools that high-level athletes use just so that we can age better. And I love what Christopher said. I just listened to this yesterday. The doctors at CORE put on a podcast. That's the brand of the machine that I use. And the doctors were talking about that exact same thing. We are a medicated society that is living longer, but the quality is not going up with the length of time that we're here. And Bernie's a clinician, and Jennifer's a clinician, and they can probably tell you that as well. We are not living the quality that the length is giving us, and I would like to see that change. And VO2 is one of the quickest ways to do that. Any other questions? Ask away.
Just to make sure I'm understanding, so the level 2, I hear a lot of people talk about it, that's where you
Yeah.
burn fat.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's more than just burning fat, that's
Right.
2 systems that you're talking about. So are we saying that when you're utilizing level 2 or you're utilizing the anaerobic system, is that where you're burning your fat, or is it the?
Yeah, so the aerobic system is where you should be using fat and oxygen to create energy.
And that's level 2?
And that would be zone 2 work for
Oh,
most
zone two,
people.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that would be, it should be. But if you're Carrie, his wife, Christopher's wife, she's an athlete. She's using high octane fuel for a zone 2 activity. Wrong fuel, wrong system for that activity, right? And her body's just been trained to do hard things. And she's bringing that hardness into zone 2. What we want to see in zone 2 is how much power can you produce without going to that level.
So how do you increase that power, or is it, I mean, hearing it before, it seems like, hey, you just stay zone 2, which means whatever your heart rate
Yeah.
is, you just stay there, that's it, or is there a whole lot more? to it?
Yeah, there's more.
Okay.
There's more, right? Yeah, Diana's doing it right now. She's learning that. What kind of light bulb are you? Are you a 20-watt light bulb? Are you a 100-watt light bulb? Are you a 50-watt light bulb? Like, what kind of light bulb are you? You want to be the brightest light bulb you can be in zone 2, where oxygen and fat are producing the energy. You want to be the brightest light bulb in that group. That's what matters. The heart rate is just a proxy. It gives me an indication. It leads me to believe something's happening. But your power that you actually produce while you're on that activity, that's the key. How much power can you produce and not blow up zone 2 heart rate?
So is that something like, you can stay within the same zone, but maybe you have more resistance?
Yes.
Do more resistance.
Yes. Yeah. And then in 12 weeks, can you do more resistance and still stay in that heart rate? And then in 12 more weeks, can you stay at that heart rate and do even more resistance?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's what you mean by adaptation.
Yes, and that's the magic word is adaptation. Most people think that they just get to a heart rate and they ride and they sweat, like Christopher said, and then they call it a day, check, check, check. The key is, what's your engine producing? Are you the NASCAR driver in the right race, or are you the Fiat car in the wrong race? Like, where's the power on all of this? And that's the important piece. And that's what this lets me know.
And I think that's what we hear a lot, like, hey, when you go on treadmill, start on treadmill, you get your heart rate, and you're good to go, right?
Right.
But which I guess is not the case.
It is not correct. I can prove that one. That is not correct. It's the amount of power that you can produce in that zone. That's the key. Yeah. If you go out and run a 15-minute mile, or you said resistance, do you ride a bike?
But no, I was thinking even like even on a treadmill.
Oh, treadmill.
Like you could increase the
Make
distance on
incline.
Yes.
the incline.
Yeah, okay, let's do incline. Okay, so let's say you go from 0 and you go to, you can go grade 3. Okay, you've got a 3% grade. And now we're just gonna pretend you're in your zone 2 heart rate. Okay? And you try to go to 5% grade. Uh-oh. Now you're in zone 5. Uh-oh. So you're at grade 3% grade, okay? The key to progress is, can we help you discover how to go from a 3% grade to a 5% grade and still not go over that heart rate? Oh, now the engine got better. Not just your heart rate flow. Now you can have a cup of coffee and your heart rate goes up. That's just a proxy for what's going on inside of you. So if we can get you to a 5% grade, ding, 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 ding. Oh, now we've proved that you've improved your power.
And you'll probably burn much more fat and have a
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. And that's the problem that random cardio does, is that people, they hear, they see, and they're doing the best with what they have, but we know better. And when we know better, we need to do better. So if you know, here's my zone 2, but I can only go 3% grade, and the stat says, I really should be able to go a 6% grade. How do I get there? Right, and now I can do a 6% grade at that same heart rate. I'm good. Now I'm good. Now I know my engine is good. I just didn't play around with my heart rate and go call it a day. Now I know my engine is good.
great information, by the way.
Oh, thank
And
you.
very able to present it in a way where we're not really Charlie Brown talk.
Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. Every time I go to his office, he's like. Anyway, any other questions? Yes.
Well, it seems, this discussion seems that it would transfer to stamina on like a hike, or you wanna ride your bike longer.
Okay, wait, you know this answer. We just did it as an exercise. How many milliliters do you need right now? Okay, how many do you need for a hike?
I don't know.
Well, guess, just, okay, 40. 20, let's just say 20, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, it is. It takes 20, okay? And you only have 10. Are you doing that hike? No, you're gonna get halfway and go, what the crud?
Yeah.
I can't make it. I don't have it,
Yeah.
right? This is the longevity piece. I want to be able to be 90, sitting in a chair. My grandkids say, hey, let's go ride our bikes. And I'm like, let's go, right? And then when I'm 100, 95 to 105, that's what I'm asking God, 95 to 105. I just go to bed and I just don't get up one day. That's the way I want to go out. I do not want to be struggling at 80 because I don't have enough VO2 to get myself up out of the chair. That won't work. No, so you already know the answer to that. You need enough VO2 to do whatever it is that you want. There are standardized information because they've been taking the test for so long. And now you know, and you get it, and then you plan. And you do it, and then once you're there, you're there. I have a VO2 that I can do. I have a VO2 of someone in their 20s. So barring anything else, okay, just VO2, I can go do as much as I want, as long as I want for, yeah, whatever it is, right? I want all of that for you. There's a doctor that has done some studying on VO2, and he said that every one of you has the capability of being in the top 25% of your age group. Every one of you has the capability of being in the top 25% of your age group. Just, do you wanna do the work? And it's not harder.
No.
It's, yeah,
It's probably easier.
Yes.
With the road. I mean, think about this. I mean, if you're old enough, when we used to travel, how many had maps in their glove box? That was hard. Now what do we do? Directions home. Right? And that's easier. So it's the same thing. The road, we give you a really good roadmap, guides you through the process, and you can see the direction. And that just makes life so much easier. Not guessing, and pulling out a map, and missing the road, and trying to figure. I mean, I remember those days. You had like 15 maps in your glove box because you went on trips, and now you got all kinds of maps. So this is just two things. It helps give direction, and it also helps you understand where you're at, right? Because that's the important part. Most people are climbing a mountain, never turn around and look how high they are. Right? We're always looking at where we're going. So it allows you to celebrate and go, hey, look what I've done. And that's probably the other biggest piece of advice I can give you: celebrate. Celebrate the little wins and the big wins. Yeah, we gotta celebrate. We need to do that because too often we're just chasing a goal and chasing a goal and chasing a goal. But yeah, celebrate. Not too much celebrating. They would get mad.
I know. I always used to tell my clients, fun's kind of irrelevant to the whole thing, but that didn't sit well with them. We want to have fun.
We wanna have fun.
We want to have fun.
I want to have fun. It's a
Well,
great journey.
I have a client that's going to be waiting for me, but I want to make sure every question, and then I want to make sure that if you like the little cardio blueprint that I put together, it's a little digital, a few pages to just kind of plant some seeds, and then my office is right around the corner. You can come see me, or however Christopher wants to handle it. I brought tests, you can see samples. Any other questions? No?
You gonna be here for a couple minutes?
I am.
Go over the test. Debbie runs.
What's your name?
No more questions. We're good? Well, we appreciate you guys, so thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We'll have many more.
Yeah, so the next time that there's something going on, you know, like you're in the inner circle, you got the first one. If you wanna look at a test, here's the Fiat and the NASCAR. Oh, thank you, Dora, yeah.